In one of Latin America's most violent nations, a gangster's paradise, drug deals, killings, kidnappings, and extortions had become a norm. But one man rallied for change. With a charismatic approach, a social media savvy persona, and an ambitious vision for his country, a man who was an anti-system menace and a disruptor of traditional politics emerged. A man who was once dismissed as a political novice dared to transform El Salvador's narrative, from embracing Bitcoin as a legal tender to battling gangs. Critics found fault in his leadership, claiming his authority undermined democracy. This is the story of the world's coolest dictator. On July 24, 1981, in San Salvador, a baby boy took his first breath. His name, Nayib Armando Bukele Ortiz. He was the firstborn of Olga Ortiz de Bukele, a devout Roman Catholic from a small town near El Salvador's eastern border, and Armando Bukele Carton, a businessman of Palestinian descent, and a respected figure in the country's Muslim community. From an early age, Nayib was immersed in a world of ambition and enterprise. He completed his secondary education at the prestigious Escuela Panamericana in 1999, just before his 18th birthday. With big dreams, he enrolled at the Central American University in San Salvador to study law. But the halls of academia could not contain his restless spirit. He soon left his studies behind to step into the world of business. He joined his father's advertising agency, NOC. Bukele quickly became involved in the political landscape of El Salvador. The agency handled campaigns for the left-wing Faribundo Martí National Liberation Front, giving him a front-row seat to the intersection of business and politics. But Bukele was not one to simply follow in others' footsteps. He was determined to carve his own path. In 1999, he founded his own marketing company, Obermet SADCV, taking on the role of president. Under his leadership, the company played a pivotal role in running political advertisements for FMLN presidential candidates, Shafik Handel in 2004 and Mauricio Funes in 2009. His influence in the corporate world grew rapidly. From 2005 to 2007, he presided over CLS, a company responsible for issuing Salvadoran passports. Between 2009 and 2012, he led Yamaha Motors El Salvador, overseeing the distribution of Yamaha products across the country. Everywhere Bukele went, he ascended to the top. A natural-born leader, he often referred to himself as a businessman with a great future, and with every passing year, he proved himself right. But deep down, he knew that business was only the beginning. His relentless drive and leadership instincts were meant for something greater. It was only a matter of time before he turned his eyes toward the political stage. After all, if he could be president in business, why not in government? In 2012, a young and ambitious Nayib Bukele, just 31 years old, stepped onto the political stage as the mayor of Nuevo Cuscatlán. Backed by the left-wing FMLN, he won the election and quickly set himself apart, not with long-winded press conferences or polished news releases, but by speaking directly to the people through social media and face-to-face events. His unconventional approach worked, and in 2015, he set his sights higher, running for mayor of San Salvador. Against the odds, he defeated the candidate from the Conservative Arena Party, ending their decade-long grip on the capital city. As mayor, Bukele proved to be a man of action. He spearheaded urban renewal projects, revitalized the city center, and launched large-scale employment initiatives. But while he won over the public, he made powerful enemies within his own party. He openly accused the FMLN-led government of corruption, a move that soured his relationship with party leaders. The final straw came in 2017, when a city council member accused him of throwing an apple at her and calling her a witch, an allegation he denied. The FMLN wasted no time, and expelled him a month later, labeling him a troublemaker who was dividing the party. After one term as San Salvador's mayor, he announced his candidacy for the 2019 presidential elections, and launched his own political movement, named New Ideas, livestream on Facebook. But the road to the presidency was anything but smooth. Bureaucratic hurdles blocked New Ideas from becoming an official party, forcing Bukele to seek refuge in another political group, Democratic Change. But just as he was settling in, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal shut down the party. With time slipping away, Bukele was running out of options. Just 6 months before Election Day, he struck a deal with the right-wing Ghana Party, his last shot at securing a place on the ballot. A gamble that would eventually pay off. Riding a wave of social media-driven support and a bold anti-corruption message, Bukele won the presidency on February 3, 2019, with nearly 53% of the vote. His victory shattered the decades-long dominance of FMLN and Arena, making him the youngest elected president in Latin American history. For years, El Salvador was gripped by fear. Streets were ruled by gangs, and violence was a daily reality. The nation, once known for its vibrant culture, had become infamous as one of the most dangerous places on earth. Two notorious gangs, MS-13 and Barrio 18, held entire neighborhoods hostage, demanding payment for extortion from businesses and eliminating anyone who stood in their way. By 2015, the country's homicide rate had soared to a staggering 107 murders per 100,000 people, one of the highest in the world. Even as the numbers dropped to 38 per 100,000 by 2019, El Salvador remained a country under siege, with an estimated 67,000 gang members dictating the rules of survival. It was against this backdrop that Nayib Bukele made a bold promise during his presidential campaign: he would put an end to gang violence. The question was, could he deliver? On June 1, 2019, Nayib Bukele assumed office as president of El Salvador and announced that combating gangs would be a major priority for his administration. Almost immediately, he enacted a 7-stage territorial control plan, which commenced 2 days after his inauguration. Stage 1: Preparation. This stage began with an increase of police and military presence in 17 of El Salvador's most violent districts, in an effort to retake territories held by gangs. Surveillance and territorial occupation, as well as an increase in security operations, resulted in over 5,000 gang-related arrests within the first 2 months of the program. Bukele also put all of El Salvador's prisons under extensive lockdown by enacting stricter confinement rules, banning visitors, and blocking cell signals in and out of prison facilities. These lockdowns increased in intensity during April of 2020 due to 77 gang-related murders that occurred over a 3-day period. The government claimed that these murders were planned by gang members from inside prisons, and as a result, they enacted a 24-hour cell confinement rule to prevent further attacks. Stage 2: Opportunity. Bukele's administration focused on preventing crime by improving financial opportunities and quality of life in the 17 districts. Improved healthcare and education, new scholarship opportunities, and business programs were among some of the programs promised by the government. Additionally, infrastructure development projects for community sports centers, schools, and skate parks were pledged in attempts to lead youth away from gangs. Stage 3: Modernization of security forces. Bukele's plan sought to modernize El Salvador's security forces, specifically the National Police, PNC, and Armed Forces, FAS, by providing them with newer weaponry and improved technology such as drones, cameras, vests, helicopters, and rifles. Pay and benefits were also said to be increased, and barracks were improved and expanded. Stage 4: Incursion. Stage 4 of Nayib Bukele's territorial control plan, called Incursion, aimed to intensify military action against gangs and reclaim control over dangerous gang-controlled territories. This phase was set to last 5 years, focusing on doubling the number of soldiers from 20,000 to 40,000, significantly boosting security presence nationwide and increasing the military. By increasing military deployment, the Bukele administration seeks to tighten territorial control, conduct large-scale operations, and dismantle remaining criminal strongholds. Soldiers work alongside National Civil Police, PNC officers to patrol high-risk areas and prevent gang resurgence. Stage 5: Extraction. This stage is a crucial stage in Nayib Bukele's territorial control plan, focusing on the targeted removal of remaining gang members from the streets. It consists of extracting all the gang members still hiding in neighborhoods throughout the country. During this stage, security forces will enclose larger areas and go house by house to remove all the remaining gang members. Advanced intelligence, surveillance, and informant networks help pinpoint gang strongholds, ensuring swift and precise operations. By isolating and eliminating criminals, the government aims to permanently weaken gang influence and restore long-term security. Stage 6. Integration. Stage 6 started with the creation of the National Directorate of National Integration, an entity that, according to the government, would focus on medium and long-term needs. Among the powers that the new National Directorate of Integration would have been, coordinating a comprehensive training system with an employment focus, approving training programs, and generating programs to reduce poverty. Stage 7, to be determined. As of right now, Phase 7 has not been made public. Only President Nayib Bukele and some in his administration know what it is. Since its implementation, Nayib Bukele's territorial control plan has produced excellent results, particularly in lowering the country's murder rate. Nowadays, El Salvador has the lowest homicide rate since the civil war ended. On March 26, 2022, a wave of bloodshed shook El Salvador. In a single day, 62 people were murdered across the country, a level of violence not seen in years. President Nayib Bukele wasted no time. Declaring war on the gangs, he sought and secured emergency powers, arrest without warrants, no right to a lawyer, and unrestricted government surveillance. Laws changed overnight. The age of criminal responsibility dropped from 16 to 12. Sentences for gang-related crimes skyrocketed from a mere few years to decades. Even speaking or sharing messages about gangs became a crime, punishable by up to 15 years in prison. The streets transformed into a battlefield. Military forces flooded the neighborhoods, checkpoints appeared at every turn, and police patrols intensified. Suspects were stripped in public to check for gang tattoos. Homes were raided without warning, and entire communities were placed under strict curfews. Any whispers of secret negotiations between the government and the gangs were replaced by a relentless, public crackdown. Thousands of troops surrounded entire towns, dragging people from their homes. Officers spoke of arrest quotas, as Bukele posted daily updates on Twitter, boasting about the growing number of detainees. Slickly produced videos showed prisoners, heads shaved, dressed only in boxers, being herded like cattle through prison yards. By May 25th, just 2 months after the crackdown began, 34,500 people had been arrested. The prison system, already stretched thin, collapsed under the weight of the mass detentions. Mattresses were taken away, rations were reduced to 2 mega meals a day, and cells meant for a few inmates were packed beyond capacity. To deal with the overflow, Bukele announced the construction of a massive new prison, designed to hold tens of thousands. Under Bukele's relentless crackdown, El Salvador has undergone a dramatic transformation. Neighborhoods that were once filled with gang violence now thrive with renewed life. Small businesses operate without fear of extortion, job seekers move freely, and children walk to school without the looming threat of gang recruitment. Bukele defends his hardline approach, dismissing critics as sympathizers of criminals. He argues that human rights concerns were nowhere to be found when gangs ruled vast territories with terror. And the numbers speak for themselves. From one of the world's most murderous nations a decade ago, El Salvador now ranks among the safest in the Western Hemisphere.